And speaking of runoff from rivers, creeks, and streams, we are going to have a look at our river forecast for the next 2 days. Starting off with the Roanoke River at Randolph, expected to crest near 22.5 feet. Later this weekend, about 8 a.m. on Saturday, the Roanoke River at Roanoke later this afternoon, expected to peak at 6.5 feet. Dan River at Danville expected to crest just over 23 feet later on tonight. And then the Dan River at South Boston, which is downstream of Danville, expected to peak near about 26 feet on Sunday morning. So all that rain that we received, it's got to go somewhere. It's going into our rivers. And so because of that, we still have aerial flood warnings in effect for some of those areas, including the majority of Southside, the majority of Lynchburg. But notice to our west, to our north of the Roanoke Valley, no flood warnings in effect. That's because Debbie has moved out of here rather quickly, and the only thing that we're tracking at this time is a light to moderate rain in some of those areas where those flood warnings are still active. But we're also tracking some gusty winds, especially in parts of the D.C. metro area, building off into New York. Notice the coastal areas here dealing with winds close to 40 miles per hour as we're dealing with those onshore winds right along some of our coastlines along the mid-Atlantic. Wind gusts are going to be peaking around 8 to 9 a.m. this morning, between about 15 to 25 miles per hour. We could see a stray 30 mile per hour gust in there, especially along some of the higher elevated areas like Bent Mountain, in and around parts of Floyd County, in and around parts of Reed Mountain. Could see some of those gusts get a little bit higher, but by tonight the winds will start to settle down. As we have a look at the active radar, we are continuing to track some of that light to moderate rain. There is a wind advisory in effect for parts of Nelson County at this time. Albemarle County and Charlottesville dealing with some heavy rain through the overnight hours. There is a streak of rain that built from South Boston just to the east of there, all the way through Charlottesville, through Harrisonburg, and it's now moved off towards Hagerstown. So about 7 to 8 inches of rain has fallen there. They've seen cars being taken away by some of the floodwaters. So fortunately, we haven't had to deal with that. Okay, we didn't deal with the large tornado threat that was way out to our east in between Raleigh and Greenville yesterday morning. It's now built off towards Richmond and the D.C. metro area, as there's still an active tornado watch highlighted here in red, basically riding the I-95 corridor. So we got lucky. All right, if this storm were 30 miles to the west, we would have been dealing with that mess. Okay, that is good news. That's certainly nothing to complain about. Same goes for the rainfall. A lot of the heavier rain stayed just to our south or to our west, where parts of Louisville, North Carolina, parts of Charlotte saw significant flooding. Fortunate yet again, we were wedged right in between the severe weather and the intense flooding. Okay, rainfall total is only about 1 to 5 inches locally. Some spots saw about 8 inches thanks to upsloping up the mountains. So when the winds go up the mountains, it cools and condenses, then we get a little bit more rainfall. So areas of Bent Mountain and Apple Orchard Mountain saw about 8 inches of rain. Also, Afton Mountain near Charlottesville saw close to 10 inches of rain. There is that streak that I told you about going all the way up right along 64. Coming in from Richmond. So lots of rain out there in that region. Again, we got lucky. We're going to continue to see mostly cloudy skies throughout the rest of the morning. Isolated showers from time to time. It's still going to be muggy out there, still dealing with tropical moisture, but our winds are going to be shifting, and that's when they'll start to die off. We will see some isolated showers throughout the rest of our Friday, but other than that, we're going to be drying out. Unfortunately, it's August, all right? We're still dealing with the tropics. There's an area that we're watching, given a 50% chance of developing within the next week. If you're headed out the door within the next couple of minutes, maybe walking the dog. Again, rain showers out in Lynchburg and parts of Southside, but the Roanoke Valley out towards the west and north, looking mostly dry with partly cloudy skies. And then this afternoon, temperatures will get anywhere from 85 to about 88 degrees for the Roanoke Valley, Hill City, and Southside. And then this weekend, things look to clear up as sunshine builds in.